day one of the Durham case, which I believe was October 12th. So here's the opening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a false statements case. False statements that the defendant told the FBI, lies that the FBI relied upon in a historic investigation of alleged collusion between the United States citizens and the Russian government. Poking the bear again. Here we go, poking the bear. Lies that the FBI relied on as it used its most powerful authorities to conduct national security wiretapping, which is the FISA court. Lies that the FBI should have uncovered, but never did. Now, I'm reading this from Technofog, so he's a lawyer that we all followed on Twitter before we all got our wonderful Lifetime ban. Oh yes, there's Iron Man, there's Deadpool, my two favorite. So, let's finish. So, as Technofog says, in fact, he went so far to accuse the FBI of engaging in troubling conduct, which I do believe the Inspector General has already said it's troubling, based on the Steele dossier and, as an extension, Danchenko's misrepresentations. Some of you guys have already heard some of the news that's came out about Danchenko and the FBI offering him $1 million or Steele $1 million. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but we'll get there. So then it continues. Some of you may recall that these reports came to be known in the media as the Steele dossier. The evidence in this trial will show that the Steele dossier would cause the FBI to engage in conduct that would ultimately result in extending surveillance of the United States citizens. And the defendant's lies played a role in that. So let's keep in mind that this is Durham. We've all trusted Durham. Don't give up hope. Keep trusting. Everybody's, to hear people talk about, oh, Durham's not doing the job. But Durham never talks. Remember that. Durham is not a media whore. He doesn't go out there and speak to the media. Ever. There's a reason why he was selected. So let's give him a chance. So, Special Counsel Kelly also provided context as to why Danchenko was opened as a confidential human source. Now you are also going to hear evidence and testimony that the defendants provided other information about other Russian matters. Some of which I believe you'll hear in the testimony was useful to the FBI. But with respect to the dossier information, the defendant was paid to identify his sources, and the defendant was paid to provide them evidence that would corroborate the allegations in the Steele dossier. But the evidence will show that the defendant could not provide any corroboration through the information he provided. So they couldn't confirm it. It was lies. We knew it was lies. I mean, a lot of us have known this was lies. We've been on this forever, it seems like. Now, the government will prove part of its case against Danchenko. I can't say his name. Lays out Danchenko's emails. The defendant's very own words will show that there was never a call to say nothing of a meeting in New York, which Milan supposedly skipped out on. That would be Sergei Milan, which we tried to reach out to him on Twitter. And I can't remember if Sarge actually reached out to him or not, or if he got through to him. We never know with Sarge. The defendant's own records will make it abundantly clear to you that he never received a call from somebody he claimed to believe was Sergei Milan. Being a false statement case, the special counsel must prove that the lies were material. This is from Technofog. The special counsel provides insight into how it will meet that burden. So are you ready? This is the opening. So this is important. Remember what I said, don't give up on Durham. He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk to the media. He never has. So you will learn that the lies can cause the FBI to wield their powers too aggressively. And you will also learn that the lies can cause the FBI not to act aggressively enough, and you will see examples of both. Both of these situations here in this trial. If Danchenko had been truthful, oh, that's a concept working with the lefties. if Danchenko would have been truthful, the FBI would have been under an obligation to correct its misrepresentation to the FISA court. Now, let's not forget, we've already had the Inspector General do a report on FISA and the abuse that's going on in the FBI. I am for all taking down the FBI. Now, here's the opening to Danchenko's. Here's his attorneys. Again, this portion is from Technofog. Opening statements also provided insight into Danchenko's defense. To summarize from Technofog, they will argue that Danchenko was being truthful and that his reported lies, if they were lies, were immaterial. Not immaterial enough to get a FISA. Go to the FISA court and spy on an American citizen. Jeez. In doing so, they provided some new information on the FBI's malfeasance. Which don't we already know? Yeah. Stephen Samoa, who was primarily responsible for some of the most significant errors and omissions in the FISA applications, told Agent Auten not to probe or ask a lot of follow-up questions with Mr. Danchenko in order to get him to cooperate. Okay, Auten's out there. They also stated that Danchenko provided critical intelligence in the Russian government's effort to conduct, oh, for Jesus, sorry, Lord help us, government's efforts to conduct influential operations in the U.S. He provided the FBI insight into individuals, into areas it was otherwise lacking. Technofog is suggesting that this could be the Maria Butina case that we already know. She was a Russian mole, a spy. So, direct examination of the FBI supervisory intelligence analyst, Brian Auten. Here we go. Auten was the first witness to testify. His direct examination was conducted by Special Counsel Durham. Remember, Durham doesn't talk to us. Here are the highlights from Technofog. Auten became aware of Crossfire Hurricane in early August 2016 after a conversation with the section chief, Jonathan Moffa. I remember that name. 144 within days. Does that say 144? Yeah, okay. Within days, he was assigned to Crossfire Hurricane, where he helped lead the analysts involved in the investigation. Here's his description of how it worked. So, let's see how spot on we were. So, Crossfire Hurricane team was structured. It was integrated combination of analysis. I'm struggling today. Analysis and agents. It was structured whereby the authority structure was done both on the agent side and the analyst side, or one might say the operational side and the analytical side. The analysts, the line analyst reported to Auten. Auten reported to Moffa, who was the section chief at the time. And then Moffa reported up to, at that point, Deputy Assistant Bill Priestap. We've heard that name as well. And the agent, on the agent side, the operational counterpart by name was Pinketta. We all know the name. Joe Pinketta. Joe reported up through Peter Stroke, who was the dad, and then up to Assistant Director Priestap. So the top of the pyramid at this point is Priestap. Now, he explained the investigation was run from the FBI headquarters, which is rarely done, but here they're doing it. Here's Auten's description of the chain of reporting. Section Chief Moffa and Peter Stroke both reported to Deputy Assistant Director Bill Priestap. Priestap reported directly to my favorite, not Andrew McCabe. I cannot stand that guy. I can't. His feelings got hurt because his wife's feelings got hurt. I can't. McCabe reported to Director Comey at the time. Still not a fan of Comey. I know Sarge would yell at me for that, but Durham asks a pointed question about Comey. Okay, to your personal knowledge, when this investigation was ongoing, particularly in the beginning of its part and continuing on from there, was this all being reported up to the director? Was it going to Comey? His understanding, Otten's reply was, to his understanding it was, so Comey knew. But how much did Comey know? Durham also asked about Crossfire Hurricane. His questions critical of the FBI's opening of the full investigation based on suggestions of some kind of suggestion, the George Papadopoulos allegations. I can't with Papadopoulos. I still think he's a plant. He's a plant. When I confronted him, he blocked me. Tells me I'm over the target. Friendly foreign government with a suggestion of some kind of suggestions? Otten responds, yes. Durham says, and the FBI opened up that full investigation? That is correct. From day one, correct. So they get a suggestion from a foreign government or foreign agency and they immediately open it. They don't check it to see how valid it is. They just go ahead and run with it. Why does that not surprise me? But with Papadopoulos, nothing surprises me. I still think he's dirty. Durham responded about the significance of the opening the full investigation, to which Otten responded, there are investigative tools that are allowed at the full investigation that aren't allowed at the preliminary investigation. Did they even do a preliminary investigation? I don't think they did, based on what I'm reading. Otten discussed his involvement in the Carter Page investigation and the Carter Page FISA application. He was involved with providing information that went into the FISA application. He supervised the analyst in the Carter Page investigation, reviewed the application's footnotes, and did a bit of ad hoc review of the application itself. His analyst helped to gather material and assisted with providing language for the application. What the hell? Oh, let me keep going. The Crossfire Hurricane team decided fairly early on. So they decided to just start the investigation, so to speak. And at the end of July 2016, if not soon after, that they would try to put together a FISA warrant on Carter Page, according to Otten. There was talk about a FISA on Mr. Papadopoulos as well, which there should have been. I don't think we have all of his information. I think it's quite crazy that his wife works for RT, but those of you who know how I feel about him and what I've dug up understand why I say his wife is Russian. So, let me continue. Otten described September 19th, 2016 as being a significant date for Carter Page investigation because that's when the Crossfire Hurricane team received what was collectively known as the Steele dossier. Where's Christopher Steele? Can we prosecute foreigners? I think we can. I think we have. Before that, the FBI had put together material on Carter Page, but didn't have enough to secure their FISA warrant. That means they didn't have shit, because it's a thin piece of evidence that they can obtain to get a FISA. That's how slippery this damn law is. The Patriot Act, I can't. We got to get rid of that too. Let's see here. Before the FBI had put together material on Carter Page, but didn't have enough to secure it, a FISA warrant, Otten acknowledged that the FBI agent Mike Gaeta, located in Rome, was the first to get the Steele dossier. Didn't we say there was the Rome, there was an Italian element that nobody wanted to talk about? I think we said that. Otten was asked about the FBI's efforts to corroborate the Steele allegations just before the new FISA application was submitted. He stated that they looked through the FBI systems to determine whether or not we could verify or corroborate, confirm, or disconfirm the information in those reports. Here's the question Durham asks. And between September 19th of 2016 and October 21st, when the FBI submitted FISA applications, were you able to confirm or corroborate any of the FBI systems, the very serious allegations that were contained in the dossier reports? No. So they confirmed nothing. They just went on word of mouth. They're like, I don't know, gossip girls? They thinking everything is factual? Wow. Wow, that says a lot. That says a lot. The FBI also made inquiries with other members of the intelligence community to find cooperative information. They came up empty. Did they? We did receive information back from a number of different agencies. Then, as to the information that you received back from these agencies, did they corroborate the specificity? Did they specifically specify the allegations that were contained in the dossier reports? Not corroborating the specific allegations. No. Again, no corroboration, no facts. Otten was present for the FBI's interview of Steele in October of 2016, just weeks before the first FISA application was submitted. Here's the question. When you and Mr. Bacali and Mr. Gaeta and Mr. what is that name? Gesford met with Christopher Steele in early October of 2016, didn't we see pictures of Peter Strzok? Did Christopher Steele provide any corroborative information for the information that was contained in his reports, in the dossier reports? No. Not for the allegations, no. Here we go. Then Durham asks about the FBI offer to pay Steele to corroborate his information. We might call that $1 million question. This pisses me off too. Right up there with Ukraine war. Here's Otten's testimony on that matter. Here's the question. And what was, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what is the FBI offered Mr. Steele for any corroboration of the evidence or information. Mr. Steele was offered anywhere up to $1 million for any information, documentary, physical evidence, anything of that sorta, which could help prove the allegations. At any time when you were overseas meeting with Steele in early October, did he provide anything? No, nada, zip. At any time after October meeting with Mr. Steele and after the $1 million plus question had been offered as an incentive to provide confirmation of the information for what was in those reports, did he provide any more confirmed information? Nope. As to Steele's sources, Otten admitted Steele didn't provide the FBI with any names of any sources back in October 2016. So you talked to Mr. Steele about sourcing. Do you recall whether or not Mr. Steele in early October of 2016 provided you or your colleagues with names of any witnesses or sources? Sources? No. These people still have jobs. I can't. How do they still have jobs? How? Months later, in December 2016, the FBI finally learned that there was one primary source of Steele's allegations. That person was Igor Danchenko. Otten would go on to interview him in January 2017. Before getting to that January 17th interview of Danchenko, Durham walked Otten through the first FISA application against Carter Page. He specifically asked about whether the information was confirmed. Otten conceded that it was not. Wow. Okay, are we sure these people don't want to be in the CIA and be spies? I mean, because they fooled a lot of people. Not us, of course, because we knew the gig was up. He conceded. Otten said no, nothing was confirmed. Here's the next question. And with respect to this report, had the FBI been able to confirm anything of any of that information? Here's Otten's response. At that time, nope, no confirmation that the main allegations. Nope. And in fact, at the time, other than the dossier, which where are they going? I call it dossier. It's a dossier, but okay, we'll just roll with the dossier report saying this. The FBI didn't have any evidence of that, correct? Nothing to confirm that? Otten's response, no, not that he recalls. Not that he recalls. That is the... If you've watched any of the hearings on the Hill, you'll see that a lot of that, I don't recall. I don't remember. It's not my purview. It's always the same. They're really good at this. Maybe we should all try this. Technofog goes on to state, Durham also asked Otten about Sergei Milan, whose name had been discussed in October 2016. We talked about him too. Otten stated that Milan had previously been a confidential human source for the FBI's Atlanta office. What the hell's going on in Atlanta? With a Russian. I think he's Russian. Here we go with questioning. And what was that relationship? Mr. Milan at the time had been a source. And when you say source, that's the same thing as confidential human source? Correct. The common parlance might be known as information. In common parlance? What? Yes. And do you remember how long Mr. Milan had been a confidential human source for the FBI? He doesn't recall. Another famous word they like to use. I don't recall. I don't remember. Do you recall or do you know in German what the nature of the assistance Milan was providing? I know where he had provided some assistance. I don't know exactly what type of assistance it had been. Okay, so you know that he helped as a confidential human source. Correct. For a period of time? Correct. And you said you knew where he was providing information. Correct. And where was that? I believe Atlanta, the Atlanta field office. Okay, do you know again? Personal knowledge, do you know whether or not at some point in time Milan's status as a confidential human source was closed? Yes. And why was it closed, if you know? His response is, I believe it was because it was closed because he had moved out of the area of responsibility for that Atlanta field office. So he moved. He moved out of Atlanta, so that Atlanta didn't, that's why it ended. I can see that. I've answered some questions for the feds back in the day. Would I do it today? No. I'm a little disgusted with them. Now, with respect to Mr. Milan, have you heard about Milan from Steele? You knew he had a relationship with the Bureau, correct? Correct. This is... oh my gosh. Okay. So, let's see what Technofog has to say. As an aside, here we go. As an aside, let's briefly discuss the importance of Milan's prior relationship with the FBI. Most significantly, it put the FBI on notice that Milan would be willing to corroborate any Steele-Yurchenko allegations, so they thought. The FBI never took advantage of that prior relationship. Again, here we have the FBI failing to follow up on leads because it knew such steps would blow up the investigation. You think? As an aside, let's briefly discuss Milan's prior relationship with the FBI. I can't, this is crazy. Most significantly, it puts the FBI on notice that he'd be willing to corroborate those allegations, and again, the FBI never took them up. never went and confirmed anything. They just took it upon themselves. So we believe everybody. Unless you believe in America and the Constitution, then they don't believe in you. Back to the transcripts. Here we go. So, Otten said the FBI's opened an investigation on Milan after October 2016. An interview with Christopher Steele, he admitted the FBI found no evidence Milan had assisted in the interference of the 2016 presidential campaign. So Milan didn't interfere. There's nothing, nada, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying back in the day in 2017 when we've all discovered, some of us in 16, it was just a big hoax. Everybody was attacking Milan. I remember this because we felt sorry for him. So, would you tell here's the questions. Here we go. Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury whether or not, again, to your personal knowledge, whether or not the Bureau opened up some file on Milan? Yes. And was that a matter investigated by the Bureau? Yes. And to your personal knowledge, was it at some point closed? Yes. Were charges brought against Milan? Nope. Was there any wrongdoing in terms of him assisting in the interference in some way with the 2016 election? Nope. However, the Milan allegations, which arose from Danchenko's claims to Steele, were still included in the original FISA. They left the lies in there. They left them, of course. Anything to get, us deplorables or smelly Walmart shoppers to keep their thumb on us. That's what they're doing. They're trying to keep their thumb on us. They're trying to control us. In January 6th, it scared them in Congress. Why? Maybe they should think about that. Now, I'm not for violence, but maybe they should remember that they're to serve us. And the FBI, their bureaucracy, it needs to go. They need to. Every head office of every department in government needs to be in a different state, not together. It just needs to be broken up. There's just too much crap. And I've heard too much. I mean, I heard someone that worked at HUD. He was an older white gentleman. Wow, he was attacked all the time within HUD for being white in Washington. I can't. It's just ridiculous. So, here's the question. To your personal knowledge and recollection, was any of the Milan information that was contained in the dossier report 2016 included, not just the initial FBI submission, FISA submission October of 2016, but it was also contained in subsequent applications submitted to the federal judge? So they kept using the same information to extend their FISAs. Yes, it was. So, now let's read what Technofog says, which again, kudos to Technofog. If you're not on there, if you don't follow Technofog, he's on Telegram. I believe he's on Truth, Rumble. I'll put a link in. I'll see if I can put a link into this so you guys can read it. From there, Durham spent a good deal of time asking about specific allegations in the FISA applications. The purpose of this line of questioning is materially of any of Danchenko's lies. To lay the foundation for the FISA applications, relied on uncorroborated information from the Steele dossier to later argue that the FBI had the duty to correct the false information. In fact, by the fourth FISA, the Mueller application, the FBI was still trying to corroborate the allegations. And they still couldn't. They just kept it going. Between October 21st of 2016 and when the FBI submitted its fourth FISA applications on a United States citizen, did the FBI continue to try to corroborate the information? Yep. It was never able to. It didn't cooperate. That's the information that came from the dossier report, correct? Correct. So by the fourth application to the FISA, they couldn't confirm any of the information provided, and they kept using it. We already know this, but this is a reminder. So here we go. Here's Technofog again. In fact, Otten and others from the FBI made additional trips overseas to try to talk with Steele and others to get cooperative information. Didn't we see pictures of Peter Strzok and Lisa Page over there? Maybe they weren't over there for that. I don't know. Otten said he was not able to get such cooperative information through these efforts. So they spent more money, more taxpayer money, to go and confirm something that didn't exist. So they're spending our money again. Otten also testified that he identified Igor Danchenko as Steele's primary subsource in December 2016. He made the connection through a number of searches through the database, a number of making connections of existing material that they had. Some of this related to prior counterintelligence investigations of Danchenko. Something that Durham can't get into that yet. I'm dying to see how Peter Strzok, to see if my gut's right about Peter Strzok. Because he blocked me too when I asked him why he was putting stuff back into electronic form of conversations when he knew it'd be caught. He blocked me. And mind you, they have to personally go and block you. It's not just, let me just block them. They have to go and physically block you. So that tells me I was over the target again. So. What followed was Danchenko's January 24th through 26th interviews in 2017 from the FBI side. Deputy Assistant Jennifer Boone was involved in helping set up the interview. So was Maffa, Soma, and Otten. Here's an author note from Technofog. Also involved of the DOJ National Security Division, David Loffman. Why does that name sound familiar? Otten described the purpose of Danchenko's interviews, which were handled by himself and Stephen Samoa. We were to go there to determine, who the subsources were in the reports and what they could tell us about the reports in general. After walking Otten through the immunity agreement, so Otten got immunity. Okay. We'll see if that pans out. After going through his immunity agreement provided to Danchenko, Durham admitted in a LinkedIn message from Danchenko to an associate where he took credit for much of the allegations in the Steele dossier. So, in a message through LinkedIn, this Danchenko said, most of that stuff came from me. Yes, here's what he said. Yes, I collected some 80% of raw intel and half the analysis for the Chris Steele dossier and went through debriefings with the FBI on the collusion matter, period. Of which they could not cooperate. Unreal. Here's some more. Then there was a discussion about there was a discussion about the FBI's plans to bring Danchenko into the fold as a confidential human source. According to Otten, this was the FBI's plan prior to the January 2017 interviews. Durham's questions. Here we go. Even prior to actually approaching Mr. Danchenko in January of 2017, that was the FBI's plan, wasn't it? To see if they could get him? To bring him in as a CHS? Yes, that was part of their thinking. Don't you think they should have asked him first? Okay. And you wanted to bring him in, you wanted to bring him on to the Bureau for what purpose? To get as much information as we could to corroborate and understand the sourcing of the material. You know the information's supposedly coming from this Igor to Christopher Steele. You're not corroborating it. You're not confirming that it's real. You haven't even asked if you're going to bring him into the fold before they... That's not very efficient. I mean, it's not. So here's how the process worked. Okay, here's the question. Okay, tell the jurors what happened with respect to handling of Mr. Danchenko as a confidential human source for the FBI. Mr. Danchenko was subsequently a confidential human source out of the Washington field office. Mr. Soma had gone back to New York. He left. Soma left Washington. He went back to New York. Somebody else took over. Correct. Somebody else took over the case. Okay. And that person who took over, do you recall who that person was? That was Special Agent Kevin Helson. Helson. I've not heard of that name. I'm going to write that one down. Okay, so Kevin Helson was assigned to the Washington field office, correct? Yes. And did he have a particular expertise in an area or field which he worked? Yes. And what was that? Russian counterintelligence. Peter Strzok was supposed to be our top counterintel agent in the entire Bureau, who was also in Operation Ghost Stories. Okay, let's see where this goes. Okay, so Helson comes on. He's going to be the handler. When did I can't even speak right now. When he did take over, Mr. Helson, did take over, was it the Crossfire Hurricane personnel? Where they cut you out of this? Or what was the relationship between Crossfire Hurricane, Soma and company, and then Special Agent Helson? No, there was no back and forth between Helson and Mr. Helson's embedded analysis, as well as any analysis on his team. And indeed, when this arrangement was initially set up, do you recall, sir, whether or not Helson was posed questions for Danchenko on behalf of Crossfire Hurricane people? In some cases, yes. That was his response. The use of Danchenko as a confidential human source, with Agent Helson being the go-between by the Crossfire Hurricane team, overlapped into the Mueller investigation. Here we go with Mueller. This is from Technofog. At that time, FBI Special Agent Amy Anderson was assisting in corroborating the dossier information. You got two new names there, people. Two new names. Helson and Anderson. Maybe Amy's been out there for a little bit. What a convenient arrangement. The Mueller special counsel would make use of Danchenko while he was protected under other matters. I can't. Before the first day wrapped up, Otten discussed the January 2017 interviews with Danchenko and Danchenko's claim he spoke with Milan over the phone, which we know is incorrect. He did not, but let me finish. Otten was curious about the phone call and about the information relayed in that phone call, calling it a very strange part of the interview. Because it didn't happen? I'm just saying. Specifically, Otten wondered how the information that came from the Steele dossier had come out on a very short phone call like that. So it was a short call. And all that information came out of that call. The gig's up. From there, the first day of the trial saw to a close. I'm going to keep updating you guys on this as Technofog releases it. There's another video I'm going to do for you guys. It's kind of raw. Hopefully you guys understand. But this is important. It's important to see when we say weaponized agencies. I mean, we've already got the Inspector General that's came out about the FBI and their wrongdoings. And, their methods were not antithetical to the way that it should have been done or their policies and missions. Please. Durham doesn't talk. So don't let someone drive that media, that information, saying that Durham's not winning. You don't know that. You don't, because Durham doesn't talk. That's the beauty of it. That's why Barr assigned Durham, because Durham doesn't speak. Let's remember who Durham has prosecuted. He has prosecuted officers, law enforcement. So, have faith. I have faith. I have faith in the justice system. Kind of. Okay, I have faith in Durham. the justice system is like really screwed up. I mean, let's go burn down cities, but when we go to Washington to have a conversation with our Congress people, it's an insurrection. If we wanted that building, we would have taken it. We would have been taking selfies. We also wouldn't need the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys. No. But that's another topic. So we're on the Russian hoax. So more to come. I hope you enjoyed this information. Here's the bottom line is, we've now confirmed everything we've known, which some of us have known this for years now. The FBI had nothing. They had fake information given by fake people, not fake people, or just fake individuals. I don't like them. Christopher Steele, who was FBI, England's version, MI6, MI5, whatever it is over there. So, who in turn got information from Igor Danchenko, which was all lies. Lies. And the FBI never confirmed it. They didn't corroborate any of the evidence and went to the FISA court, yes, 4 times, and got applications, warrants, wiretap warrants approved on American citizens. We've got to get rid of the Patriot Act. We need to get rid of the FBI. I mean, there's lots of places that the FBI can be split into other law enforcement agencies. But right now, I'm really disgusted. I'm really disgusted with the FBI and the line and the amount of information that keeps coming out about all the bad doings that they're doing. Setting up people like that Whitmer thing in Michigan, kidnapping their governor. Really? Why? Why? I mean, I can't. In any case, I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Remember, don't talk to ugly strangers. Until next time.